All right, here's we're ready to go. Again, want to welcome everyone today or this morning. And thank you for coming to this listening event for us to hear what you have to say. First off, though, I want to thank the city of Pittsburgh and everybody for getting this thing set up the way they did. It's just been first class, and I want to thank you. Before we actually get into all the rest of the announcements and topics, we'd like to start off with a prayer and then the pledge to the allegiance. So I'll pass the mic down. We're going to be led in prayer by Representative Tom Sawyer. If you'll please rise.
Let's be an attitude of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, please bless our proceedings today. We're thankful for the turnout we have here in Pittsburgh. We're thankful for the very good fried chicken and other good food we've had while we're here. Please be with the citizens today as they speak to us, and we thank you for the safe travels we've had so far. And please be with us as we travel throughout the day. In your great name we pray. Amen.
Yes.
All right, I want to thank you for being here again today. We're excited for the opportunity to hear from you and your thoughts on your community. This is a listening tour for the committee and for the body to hear from you about what's important to you and your area, and that what we should consider as we go through that process. But before we get into that as well, I'd like to also have an opportunity for us to acknowledge some key members on the staff. So I'll start off with to my left and have Senator Rick Wilburn, chair of the Senate committee, to introduce his team.
Thank you, Chairman Croft. I am Rick Wilbur. The Senate District, the Redistricting Committee. Can you hear me now? Thank you very much. I am Rick Wilburn, Senator from the 35th Senate District, chairing the Senate version of the Redistricting Committee. My vice chair is Ty Masterson, and immediately to my left is Senator Sykes, the ranking minority leader of the Kansas Senate.
Okay, and I'm Representative Chris Croft. I'm the chairman of the House Redistricting Committee. To my right is my vice chair, Representative Brad Ralph. There we go. And then to his right is Representative Tom Burrows. Want to also recognize our House Minority Leader, Representative Tom Sawyer, who gave us the invocation. And then two others that I'd like to acknowledge because we're in their district and this is where they represent is Senator Richard Hildebrand and Representative Chuck Smith, who's in the audience. But most importantly, we want to acknowledge you guys for being here and taking the time out of your day to be here part of this process. Before I continue, at the risk of doing this, I'm going to pass the mic to Representative Tom Burrows to make an opening comment as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. I want to express my appreciation to those of you that have joined us here and online for this town hall this morning. This is the 10th stop for the committee, and each location is an important stop. Like many of you, the committee members want a fair and transparent redistricting process. Our compressed schedule this week is just the beginning of our monumental task. The information and testimony shared here today may very well impact your community. Continue to let your voices be heard. And again, thank you for joining us. And thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you for those words. And again, like it was mentioned, we do appreciate those that are here, but we also appreciate those that are online participating, not just the public, but also their other committee members, their other legislators that are listening in to make sure they get a full hearing of what's going on. And again, this is taped, so they will also have that opportunity later. As was mentioned, this is an opportunity for us to hear about your community. And we do have a goal in this thing of achieving exceptional transparency and public access. And that's our in-state goal. We're trying to work towards that. And any comments and ways you can help us get there, we're gonna take what you say and try to work towards that. Because what you say is very important to us. We've asked that the state elected officials to provide their comments at a later time, just so we can stay focused on what you're saying to us. They're going to have an opportunity as well. Nobody's being cut off from speaking, just that we're trying to prioritize as we go through that process. And again, before we get to you, but think about it is what is that you want us to think about as we're sitting down and possibly drawing lines? What do you want us to think about as we're going through the next session as it relates to all this? There was a sign-up sheet online. We had one in the back for those that are wanting to speak. If there's somebody here that wants to speak in another language or more comfortable in that, we want you to speak in a language that you can ensure that your thoughts are more accurately portrayed. We encourage that. We will have any of the testimony transcribed and translated for us following today's meeting, and then provided to members, the body, and to the public at large. We are also using closed caption here in the room. This time around, redistricting is a little more challenging. And we've heard comments about that with the delay of the U.S. Census data. We got that. But what it does for us is it gives us this opportunity to truly hear what's on your mind about your community, how things have changed in the last 10 years that we should know about. And that, I think it actually is going to make it more powerful as we go through that process to really get to know the communities and what it is of your concerns. So again, you don't have to limit. If you want to talk about process improvements, please, it's your time. Tell us what you want us to hear. This is our listening tour, and as was mentioned, it is a one step in a long, but also very continuous process. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it over to Jordan from the Kansas Legislative Research Department to kind of give you just an overview of where we are in this overall process, so you have an understanding of the bigger picture. Jordan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jordan Milholland, Kansas Legislative Research Department. We're running into some technical issues with the slides, so I'll just go ahead and speak off my slides that I've got. So this morning, I'll be presenting some information on the redistricting process, kind of give you an overview of what to expect next year and what our steps have been so far with this current cycle. Some part of the census is constantly happening, and redistricting is a part of this process. Federal law requires states have the opportunity to participate in census preparations, and states are required to participate to get census data for certain areas of the state. The Federal Census Redistricting Data Program provides states the opportunity to specify small geographic areas and to receive population totals for the purpose of redistricting. States must participate to receive population data for precincts within the state. The program also requires states to participate through a nonpartisan entity. And in Kansas, it's the Kansas Legislative Research Department. We've been working with the census since 2015 on this current cycle, and this cycle will end in the year 2025. The program is broken into 5 phases. Phase 1 is the block boundary suggestion project. Phase 2 is the voting district project. The voting district project allows municipalities to submit maps to the counties, who then coordinate with us to make sure the lines are as current as possible. And then phase 3 is delivery of census data. As you all probably know, we are anticipated the legacy format of the redistricting data for the 2020 cycle to be delivered today, August 12th. Those files take a little bit more manipulation, so it'll be some time before we're able to extract all the relevant data out of those files And then the more user-friendly files will be delivered by September 30th of this year. Phase 4 is confirmation of congressional and legislative district boundaries. This occurs after redistricting is over with. And then phase 5 is feedback from the census. Next, I'd like to speak a little bit about the 2020 apportionment. So earlier this year, we received the state population total that was determined on Census Day. The 2020 total population of Kansas is 2,937,880 persons, and that's good for a gain of 84,762. Kansas did not gain or lose a congressional seat for this cycle. Next, I'd like to speak a little bit about the adjustment. So from 1988 to 2019, the Kansas Constitution and state law required adjustment for military personnel and college students. In 2019, the legislature passed a Senate concurrent resolution that added language to the November 2019 ballot, which was approved by voters. And that language removed the requirement for the adjustment for students in military. Next, I'd like to highlight some of the process for this 2022 session for redistricting. So this process is a legislative process. It starts off with drawing maps on the computer, but then those maps are converted into bill language, and the bill is then submitted to the committees. The committee hearing process occurs. Folks are able to submit testimony. Amendments are able to be made to this just like any other bill. And the legislature will eventually propose, vote on, and approve congressional, Kansas House, Kansas Senate, and State Board of Education district maps. And just like other bills, the governor will then either sign, veto, or allow the bill to become law without signature. And then the Kansas Supreme Court has the final step. They must review and approve the maps, the state maps. However, if they decide not to approve the state maps, there's a process that's gone through to until the maps are determined valid. Basically, the process requires the Attorney General to petition the court for each new set of maps. I'd like to also highlight some KLRD resources that are available. So on our website, we host the reports for the 2012 plans that were subject to technical review. There's quite a number of different reports available, so I would encourage you all to check out our website when you have the chance to have an idea of what's available for this upcoming session too. And as I noted, similar reports are run for each proposed plan that's subject to the review. Finally, I wanted to highlight ways to contact our office if you have questions. So we have an office in the State House. You can also phone our office at 785-296-3181. Our website is kslegislature.org/KLRD. We also have an email address you may email with questions, redistricting@klrd.ks.gov. I also wanted to note for you all, since I wasn't able to have the slides up for you, two things actually. First of all, this presentation that I was speaking from is available on online. So if you visit either committee page, the House Redistricting Committee or the Senate Redistricting Committee webpage, you can download the testimony for today's meeting, and this presentation is available as part of that packet. Mr. Chairman, I believe that concludes my presentation.
Okay, Jordan, thank you very much. And for those of you who sent in public comment, as of yesterday, those documents are in the inboxes for each of these committee members, and they are posted online and they're on the legislative webpage for redistricting committee. It's kslegresearch.org. It was just mentioned as well. If anyone wants to provide public comment later, please send your comments to redistricting@klrd.ks.gov. Or you can, again, go to the website. They have some instructions on how to do that. We just ask that you follow it. One of the things I want to highlight is that there's no cutoff for your comments as we're going through this process. If you have a comment, it's 2 a.m., send it in. If it's well after this, send it in. I mean, we don't know about it unless you send it in. So please just send us the comments if you want to. To my right, my House Committee Vice Chair, Representative Brad Ralph, will maintain a timer that will indicate a card with the time remaining. Like it shows there, he's going to start off with 2 minutes, then 1 minute, then 30 seconds. We ask that you use that as kind of an indicator to wrap up your comments as you're going. At the very end, when the time expires, you'll hold up a card that says time expired. And then we ask that you honor that card and move from there. All right, so we've allocated 6 minutes per presenter. And again, a brief reminder, we've received a lot of comments on the process, and again, keep sending them in, it's helpful. But we'd also, again, just like to hear also some of the things that are unique that you want us to know about, things that have changed that we need to take into consideration, or other things that you feel are important about the process as we go along. It is really important to hear from you. All right, our first presenter is going to be Don McNay, private citizen. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity for me to speak to you this morning on creating and maintaining an equitable redistricting process based on data for Kansas. My name is Dawn McNay. I've lived in Pittsburgh since 1993. I am employed by Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas, and I am a current commissioner for the city of Pittsburgh. I am not representing either of those organizations. However, my remarks are based on my work with and for them. As you know, Southeast Kansas experiences some of the poorest health outcomes in our state. When COVID reached our counties, the potential negative health impact was greater for our area than some others in our state. The healthcare and public health community forged relationships that served the citizens of our region, which includes Senator Hildebrand, our beloved Beth Elliott from Cherokee County. We collaborated, we communicated, and we cooperated. The reality is what the governor, the legislature, the county commissioner said on tests or vaccines did not deter us. When someone needed a test, when someone needed a vaccine, transportation, food, mental health services, we all were there and continue to be there. Collectively, we serve and serve in a fair and equitable manner. This is not an unreasonable expectation for the redistricting process. We use data to drive our services and outreach. Without the 2020 detailed census data, how can redistricting be assured to be fair and equitable results for our region? Kansas has traditional redistricting guidelines and criteria, which for the most part, I believe, with the data applied, results can be equitable. Restoring faith in our governmental institutions, of which I am a part of at the local level, can only be done with us having a sincere desire for transparency. So follow up the listening tour with accessible opportunity for Kansas to participate when the data is available. And I challenge you to make Kansas a model for other states with a redistricting process that is transparent, uses objective data, and encourages meaningful input from the communities you serve. Thank you for your time and your consideration of my remarks.
Thank you very much. All right, our next speaker will be Richard Thompson, private citizen.
Well, good morning. I'm not sure who can hear. Can people in the audience hear? I couldn't hear Dawn. Okay, you can hear. I went loud mouth, I guess. I don't have a fancy speech. I thought I had one. It's in my pocket. All I really,
Actually, turn it off.
okay, is it back on? Fat fingers too. All I really requested is, as many of us remember, following the 2010 census, the legislature was not able to get it together to get redistricting done, and a suit was filed with the United States District Court for the District of Kansas, and eventually the KLRD and the court evolved some lines which we right now have for redistricting, and we've been living with them now since 2013, I think, or maybe late 2012. Anyway, I think that's a slick idea. And what I would encourage our legislature to do, well, our government, including the executive branch, is establish a commission that's, if not nonpartisan, at least balanced, open, obvious, neutral, and let that commission redraw our district lines for our various political subdivisions. I don't know that there's been a lot of controversy over what the court did, the district court did in 2012, but from my point of view, seems to have worked pretty well. And I would not just encourage, but maybe beg. I'm not good at it, but please get something together that is not trying to gerrymander us into all red or all blue or anything in between. Just somebody that, some group of people that will draw lines so that everybody has a reasonably equal chance of voting. And that's really all I've got to ask for. Something neutral. Do good by us, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next presenter will be Caleb Smith from Kansas Appleseed.
Can y'all hear me? How about now? All right. Sorry about that. I have to squat a little bit to get down to this mic. So members of the House and Senate Redistricting Committee, my name is Caleb Smith, and I am the Inclusive Campaign Director for the Kansas Appleseed Center for Law and Justice, a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to the belief that Kansans working together can build a state full of thriving, inclusive, and just communities. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. We strongly believe at Kansas Appleseed that redistricting should be an unbiased, nonpartisan process that ensures that every Kansan has their vote counted equally and fairly. Unfortunately, redistricting is too often used as a partisan weapon. And partisan gerrymandering occurs when one political party benefits by redistricting more than the other. And because race and politics substantially overlap, this often means that gerrymandering can have a negative effect on a particular race or ethnicity. Kansas Appleseed works to engage all Kansans, and we want to activate them to become better advocates within their own communities. We know that people who are civically engaged have a better quality of life and better health outcomes. Full civic participation, frankly, requires that everyone's vote carries equal weight. An equitable redistricting process can help ensure this fair, equitable, equal weight. Every vote of every Southeast Kansas resident should be protected. We want to ensure that community interests are respected and that everyone in this community continues to matter, and that everyone in it continues to have their vote represented as part of that community. Thank you for your time and for your engagement today. I urge you all to listen to as many people as you can and to really consider the input that you hear, especially from people whose life experiences might be different from your own. A good redistricting process will require both empathy and understanding of the full range of diverse communities that make up this great state. We're all Kansans, so please let's make sure that everyone's vote carries equal power. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next presenter will be Robert Roberts.
My name is Robert J. Call me Bob Roberts. I live in Pittsburg, Kansas. I'm retired from Pittsburg State University. Home phone is 620-231-878. My cell is 620-704-7457. Town hall meeting in Pittsburgh on August 12th. That's today. My beloved country going through the throes of a pandemic virus. We're all well aware of that. And tragically, politics has contributed to many deaths because of the politicization of inoculations and mask wearing. It's difficult for me to comprehend this because our two-party system has served us well for over 200 years. My beloved country is also about to undergo redistricting in Kansas. This has not started well. Meetings scheduled at first did not cover the state. Many were scheduled at times of the day when many people could not leave work. Party in charge was blatantly politicized a procedure which will affect the entire population of the state. Also about to gerrymander the state to shut out competition in voting. Democracy is best served when districts are drawn with respect for fairness and the integrity of neighborhoods. Democracy is best served when classes of voters are not targeted for suppression. Democracy is served best when those in power follow the basic rules of politics, that is, remembering that we will not always be in power. Democracy is to be more than just a footnote in some future dissertation. We must take our duties as citizens seriously. The golden rule has become tarnished. This could be a time to emphasize honesty, concern for our fellow man, and fairness, which seemingly has almost disappeared from the ongoing political controversies. Let's repolish the golden rule, make it shine again. I fought for my beloved country in Korea, and I want to see it survive for many generations after I am gone. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next presenter is Mary Kathleen. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. And thank you for your service. Our next presenter is Mary Kathleen Brown Sikora. I hope I got that right. Thank you, ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you for letting me speak today. I've lived in Pittsburgh almost my entire life, except a few years away when my husband was in the military and when I was studying in Manhattan, Kansas. I'm a retired business owner, elementary teacher, and a university instructor. So today I applaud your stated goals of transparency and objectivity. So in keeping with these goals and with our commitment to democracy, I would ask that in the future you hold additional meetings after the census information is available and people have a chance to review it. And in the interest of democracy and letting people be represented, have these meetings in the evening as well as the daytime, so that people who work could come and hear what's happening and speak in person if they wish. And I imagine many of them would. This redistricting is of a concern to everybody in the state right now, as you know. So the other thing I would ask the committee is to establish very clear criteria and publish that criteria. I have a few points about that. First of all, to protect the integrity of the voices of a certain neighborhood, community, or county, so that their voices are not split by being in two different districts and thus weakened about any concern they might have. If they have to answer to two different representatives. Secondly, do not include party affiliation in the database. There's no reason for that in a representative democracy. And then to be very aware and exclude any pressure to have any gerrymandering techniques. One that comes to mind is an extreme wedge boundary, so that perhaps a particular party is really representative in the broad wedge, but at the point, the opposite party is not very well represented and minimized. I ask too that you consider keeping the districts very similar to our current boundaries. It's worked pretty well for the state. And I look forward to seeing what recommendations you do make. And the one thing that I either missed online or maybe it hasn't been set yet, what's the deadline for drawing these boundaries?
Yeah, go to. As we're going, we have, we'll cover actually the deadlines here.
Okay, thank you very much. And I appreciate speaking today to you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Yep, go ahead. Great. Very good specifics. We appreciate that. And our last one signed up is former state senator James Barone, private citizen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the committee, for coming to Pittsburg, Southeast Kansas, my home, and I'm proud of it. Your job is not an easy one. It's a job you signed up for. So I trust you'll do it the best you can. And always remember that. You were elected by us to do the job, and we want you to do it. A lot of people will complain about politicalness, and politics got in the mix. Our government, our democracy is political. Don't run from it. You were elected to do the job, do it, represent your people, and you are the voice of your constituency. As we move forward, I would only have one simple request. Let's not split communities of interest, counties, cities, communities, whatever, if you don't have to. A prime example is Senate District 13, Senator Hillebrand's district right now. He has all of 2 counties and parts of 2 counties. It would seem to me to be very simple to give him all of 3 counties. I'm not sure what the math will roll out. Looking at the numbers, it appears each district, House or Senate, will have to grow by about 2%. And right now, Senate District 13 represents all of Cherokee County, all of Crawford County, the biggest part of Bourbon County, but not all, and a very small piece of Labette County. It don't make sense when you really look at it. I talk about that one because I'm familiar with it, and I'm sure there are other examples like that across the state. If possible, I would suggest, let's get rid of that. Why can't Senator Hillebrand have 3 counties, Bourbon, Crawford, and Cherokee? All of them. Then, if he needs a few more people or a few less people, let's work from there. And I know others. I was talking to a gentleman last night, I think represents 7 counties. That's really difficult for the incumbent legislator and also for the counties, the cities, and the citizens. Let's minimize those interactions to the fullest extent possible. And I recognize when we get in Western Kansas and places like that, there will be big territories in many counties. I used to talk about that when I was in the legislature and we'd have some of these arguments, and I would say, Our forefathers in their wisdom decided that elected officials should represent people and citizens, not acres and sections. So if you have to have a lot of geography, that's just the way it works. But let's minimize it to the fullest extent possible. And I, for one, appreciate the job that you're doing, the job that you have to do before you. Thank you again for coming to Pittsburg, Southeast Kansas, and thank you for listening. Good luck.
Thank you. That concludes all those that have signed up, but we do seem to have a few more minutes. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make a public statement or a public comment? Please, ma'am. Just ask that when you get to the mic, just state your name. And
Yes, my name is Lynn Grant. I'm from Crawford County, Frontenac at this time by way of Cherokee and Overland Park. And welcome again to Southeast Kansas. I hope you enjoyed some of our hospitality last night. I would like to thank you all for taking your time to serve on this committee. This is a very important part of what the legislature does, even if it is only once every 10 years. The people of Kansas do appreciate your service. Please remember that this may be an inconvenience for all of you, but it is part of what you all committed to when you swore your oath in January. As part of this committee, you are not or should not be working for your district, your party, or specific candidates. Your responsibility is to each and every citizen of Kansas and their right to have confidence in that their vote counts. I thank you again and safe travels.
thank you very much. Is there anybody else that'd like to have a moment? Any other comments? Okay, seeing none. Again, we really want to thank you for your input today. It was really useful. There's some good specifics in there, and that's actually what we're really looking for. So thank you very much for your comments. And as you stated, and we stated earlier, it is our goal to achieve exceptional transparency. It's our goal. We're working hard to get there into public access. This was the 10th stop in our 14-stop tour. We still have left Overland Park, Kansas City, Kansas, Leavenworth, and Lawrence. This tour is not the only time for input, and I want to strongly emphasize that. We want to hear what you have to say. We are working through what we're going to do after this and before the next session, because, there's obviously a lot of things that have to happen that come out, and we're working through the plan for that. But when we do return to session, there will be more hearings, there'll be more testimony, there'll be an entire process that we're going to go through. And to just clarify from earlier, I know because the slides weren't up there, and so it made it kind of hard to see all the different information. The timelines are laid out in the KLRD brief. They're right now making copies of that page that shows the timelines, and they'll have them available for you as you exit the building. So just so we clarify that point. We wanted to get out now. I know there's been talk getting out before the date. We wanted to get out now, like we said, to hear from you. But just because this is over doesn't mean you can't hear those comments about your community. So please go ahead, send us an email to redistricting@klrd.ks.gov. If anything comes up, like I said, if you think about it 2 a.m. and you want to send it in, send it in. I want to thank again the city of Pittsburg, and specifically also the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce for setting up the green room back there, and for setting up all this other stuff, and just being very hospitable to us as we came to your town. I thank you to the audience members for your comments, those online, and the staff working hard. I got to tell you, my opinion, first class all the way around. Thank you guys very much. Our next location is Overland Park. It'll be at 1:30. Everybody that's going, safe travels, and we are adjourned. Thank you.